Speaking of Dr. Jordan Peterson, he is creating an alternative World Economic Forum. And I guess it would be pro-energy that's cheap so that poor people can have access to the energy, and pro-families and monogamy. Now, here's my big problem with Dr. Peterson's philosophies of life. He's big on family and monogamy. And I absolutely agree with him that that is the best system for a stable world. But only maybe for 25% of people, and that's the problem. In the old days, maybe it was better for a higher percentage. I really don't think more than 25% of the public is going to make a marriage work. For the rest, it's probably a bad idea. And I don't know what to do about that. It could be that his approach is the best, which is if you don't push as hard as possible and the thing you know works, you're in trouble. Yeah, I get that point. That makes sense. And I do agree that if you get the right two people and you put them in a monogamous marriage, it is the best. I think that that's just sort of obviously true. You know, you can see it in a lot of ways. But let me ask you this question. I'm going to put on my skeptic hat for a moment. Do we all agree that single moms produce children who have the most criminal records? Would you agree? That correlation seems to be really clean. You don't agree? I'm not saying it's causation. I'm saying the correlation. Would it be easier if I just say correlation? Because causation is what I'm going to question next. All right, so here's my question. Is it also true of college-educated single moms? In other words, if you looked at only the single moms who went to Ivy League colleges and have high incomes, are their children also more likely to be criminals compared to the average? You think yes? I would make a really, really large bet that they have a low criminal record. I would make a really, really big bet on that. You really think it's going to be the same? So to me, that looks like brainwashing. But I'll allow that you could be right, since I don't have the data. I will allow that you could be right. On the surface, it looks like brainwashing. Because if you think that in all situations, simply having one parent is worse than all situations with two, that's not really rational thinking. But if you believe there's a strong correlation when you look at the whole thing, probably yes. I think it's been studied a lot. But here's the thing. There is a lot more going on with those single mothers than just the fact that they're single mothers. Whatever it is that made a man not want to be with them, do I need to finish the sentence? Right. Now, when I talk about the Ivy League woman who chooses to be a single mother, that's a choice. That's somebody who says, I can handle this. I think I will choose to be a single mother. Do you think that's the same as somebody who couldn't get a man to live with her even if she tried? There's no way those are the same. There's no way. And what about the man who left? If that woman had stayed with the man who left, they would be happy and the child would do well? Because there's got to be something about the man who leaves and doesn't take responsibility that suggests that if he had stayed, it would have been pretty bad because he doesn't take responsibility and obviously was not in love with the woman. So I think our thinking about single parenting is completely mixed up with too many other variables. And if the only thing you're seeing is the single part, you're missing the biggest part of the picture, I think. So I think we're completely misled about what's going on there. I think there's a certain type of person who's more likely to be a single mom, and that person who's more likely to be a single mom is unlikely to have an Ivy League degree, right? they are likely to have a bunch of other characteristics in common with other single women. And I think it's those other characteristics that are probably driving things. Now, that said, the best way to raise a kid, I'm sure, is a mother and a father. I'm not sure the gender thing is so important, but a two-parent situation, because two is better than one. Yeah. Having two people take care of you that are adults and love you, well, it's got to be better than one, if they're both functional. But I think we need to look into that a little bit deeper. It's too simplistic, married versus unmarried.